Just look for the sign on 153 and Nicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Nooga Radio 92.7's First Responder Friday.
If you would like to nominate a first responder for First Responder Friday, email noogaradio@gmail.com. noogaradio@gmail.com.
Nooga Radio 92.7's First Responder Friday.
Where to go for lunch today? Go to the Top. The Top of the Hill Country Buffet offers a delicious lunch buffet every day. Golden fried chicken with mashed potatoes from scratch, daily fresh vegetables, a full salad bar with all the fixins, and fresh homemade cobbler. In addition to the buffet, Top of the Hill also offers a full menu. Plus, kids eat for $5 all day. Top of the Hill is located in Ringgold on Remco Shops Lane and is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Where are you going for lunch? Go to the Top.
The station you hear everywhere.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Good morning, beautiful people here in the city of Chattanooga. It's your girl Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. Y'all know what it is. I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall. From City Hall to the mayor's office. Can't leave out the police department. From the Valley Low to the mountaintop, give you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on here in the city of Chattanooga. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Friday to everyone. We made it to the end of another long work week. I hope you were able to get some things accomplished this week. And of course, as always, if you're blessed to see another day, make it through the weekend. If you didn't get everything accomplished this week, it's okay. I'll be back with you next Monday so we can start this process of trying to accomplish some goals and tasks and taking this thing one day at a time. We got it. Y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. It's Know Your Rights Fridays, the only show that you can listen to in the city of Chattanooga and get some constitutional understanding. Today, we're going to dabble in some state law because it's Know Your Rights Fridays, father's rights. I had to finish how I started. I started this week talking about the emotional wellness of men and why men need to take care of themselves, not only physically, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And I had such great feedback, and I'm so appreciative of that. I couldn't leave my guys. I couldn't leave my fellow brethren. I couldn't leave you guys hanging on Know Your Rights Fridays either. Because I know that we have a growing trend in America right now where there's a lot of single parenting going on, where there's a lot of children who are coming up where they're divided between households. And while I won't say every man out there is a good man, there are a lot of good men out there, and some who struggle with the person they slept with and created a child with, and now it's difficult for them to be a father. And so this show is not for the chumps who don't want to take care of their children, not for the men who don't want to put their ego or pride aside and work with the lady that they slept with to be able to raise a child, because it takes two, good people. Now it takes two. And it's so unfair for there to be situations where it takes two to make a child and one person is stuck raising that child. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. And so I want to make sure that men are armed with the information that they need, just in case you want to fight for the right to raise your child, and maybe it's a little bit difficult. Maybe no one has ever helped you. You don't know your rights. You don't know where to start. You don't know what you're going to encounter. And you don't, maybe, you know, a little sliver of why, but I really want to help you hone in your why of why you have to do this. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, streaming live, Nooga Radio 92.7 FM, Facebook page, as well as YouTube. If you have not subscribed to the page already, please do that, so you can not only stay up to date with what I am doing, which is quite a bit, but you can stay up with my teammates, whether it's sports, midday shows, whether it's Scott Schrader on fixing your home and contracting, whether it's the morning news with Val and Russell Stroud. We got something for everyone. And while I may not be your particular taste, David Tullis may just be your particular taste. Keon Rose in sports and Nick LaFew and Sam
they may be your particular taste, or maybe you're a DIY person and Scott Schrader is your particular taste. Whatever it is, if you subscribe, you can keep up with what we're doing. And I want you to do that. Before I get started with the entirety of the show today, now you may have seen where some other radio stations stole what we started here, but we are the originator of First Responder Fridays. So you may hear it on another radio station, but out of my mouth, it started here with the Nuga Radio 92.7 FM family first. And for the people who are tuning in who like to talk about our radio station, but you're stealing our stuff, you know what? Imitation is the best form of flattery. Thank you so much. We appreciate how you will dog us, but at the same time, take our ideas. We must be doing a lot of things right at Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. But First Responder Friday was something that we created to encourage and to honor all of the first responders that we have in the city of Chattanooga, whether that's police, whether that's fire department, whether that is a highway patrol person or EMT. We wanted to ensure that we honor people who on a daily basis look after their neighbors. And so the winner of First Responder Friday this week is Mr. Byron Posey of the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Thank you, Mr. Byron Posey, for being an excellent first responder. Somebody loved you so much, they recommended you to be our First Responder Friday winner for this week. And we appreciate your service to the community. Know Your Rights Fridays, Father's Rights. Now, it goes without saying that rights in this country are not something that we are taught. Y'all know, if you've been tuning in with me for a while, the reason that I wanted to cover constitutional rights wasn't just for you, but rather it is even a journey for me. A journey for me to understand it's not that I didn't know that I have been given rights just because I'm here and I'm human. I'm a human being. I'm a person. But the fact that the reason that I need to know these rights is in the instance, just in case, in the instance where somebody is running over my rights, I need to know how to defend myself. I need to know how to defend my family, and I need to know how to defend my neighbor. And so this has been a growing process for me myself, because I get to understand that it often when you see people talk about the law online, that's all they leave it as, the law, as if there's like this book that says the law and it has one page in it that says follow the law. Well, what does that look like, right? So I started Know Your Rights Fridays from the very beginning because I wanted to start breaking down what does each amendment in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, what do they say individually? What do they apply to? What is the particular wording? Because some of these words we don't see on a regular basis. What is the intent of these words? And why do we need to know them? Well, you can't defend yourself if you don't know what you're fighting for. You can't protect anything if you don't know what you're protecting. And so I see a lot of Americans are funneled into our criminal justice system. A lot of people are completely ignorant of the rights that they have. And often this makes it extremely difficult if you do end up in a situation for you to be able to fight for yourself and defend yourself, which is the entire purpose of the Constitution in the first place. And so the 14th Amendment is one of the constitutional provisions that underlines one of the powers that is given to men to be able to be a father. Now, it goes without saying, there is no document in this world that will legitimize you being a father. The fact that you created another life, and if coupled with that, if there is a desire for you to raise your child, you are a father. Simple and plain. And so there is no document that really needs to say you are a father. But unfortunately, because of times, because of situations and circumstances and things that have happened, when we look at the state of Tennessee, if this is a situation, and this is a situation for a lot of people. Now, this is why it's important why people tell you to get married before you decide to have children. And I'm going to explain from a legal perspective. This has nothing to do with my opinion. From a legal perspective, this is why you need to get married before you have children. Because in the state of Tennessee, if you have a child and you're not married, all of the rights go to the mother. You're automatically considered a father if you are married to a woman and you have a child. But the moment that you don't decide to put a ring on it and you get a girl pregnant and she has a baby, I'm sorry, guys, nothing personal. I didn't make the rules. You do not have one right. All of the rights in an unwed situation immediately go to the mother. And so, in particular, it's all bad when it doesn't work out. In a lot of instances, I've seen good guys. I've seen very good guys be pulled through the ringer by some women because of bitterness, because of a relationship not working out. Oh, I see the eyes, Kay. Yeah, I'm talking about it real. I got to talk about it real because besides just helping the people who are in this situation, if you're a young person, a millennial, even if you're not a millennial, and you're out here doing what it takes to be a parent, right? Which is one act. One act is all it takes. Understand the consequences if you're doing this with a person that you are not married to. The possible consequence is that once this child is born, and if it doesn't work out, or you make the lady mad and maybe she wants to use the child to get back at you, or you slip up and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it can get really difficult for you, sir. And so I really want people to be careful because, first of all, just having to go through the system with anything is ugly, whether it's trying to get your rights back, whether it's getting a divorce or anything like this. Like, I know, and this is just a sidebar. I've had my family pressure me for a very long time, get on my last nerve. When am I going to get married? When am I going to have children? And I can't get tripped up like this rushing into anything because I understand that it's some consequences. So my daddy tells me something all the time. He says, baby, the hardest thing you'll do is find a spouse that is good for you and then raise the children that you have with that spouse. That is two hardest things you'll do in life. How encouraging is that for me? But he's so basically what my dad was saying without saying it is that, baby, you better get the first thing right, because if you don't, then it could be all kinds of bad with raising children. And the importance of talking about fathers' rights is really twofold. It's not just for the fathers, but really for the children. That's why we got to think about marriage. We really got to take it seriously. We really got to take seriously having children, because everything you do in this life, once you have a kid, is either going to affect your child for the worst or for the better. Let me say that again. And once you have a child, my granny used to say, once you have a child, it's not about you anymore. Once you have a baby, every decision that you make will either improve that child's life and chances of being a successful adult, or you will ruin their lives. And I got to talk about it real, because I'm seeing a lot of children funneled into our system. I'm seeing a lot of children out here that are in single parent homes. I'm seeing I've gone to school with a lot of children who did not know their father. I've gone to school with a lot of children who knew their father but couldn't spend enough time with them. And I want people to understand, and in particular, even for women who will watch this show and listen to it, is that, so I'll make it personal. Even if the man you had kids with is not the best man in the world. I'll tell you one thing, that my father who birthed me is not the man who raised me. The man who raised me is the man who helped my mother turn her life around and has been there with her ever since. Worked 2 jobs to help my mother go back to school, to get her chemistry degree, raised 2 kids that did not belong to him. I'm going to love that man for the rest of my life because he didn't have to raise me. He did it. He didn't have to. The reason I have last name Mott, he gave me his name. I love my dad. But the man who birthed me is not the man who raised me. One thing I will say is that even though my mom had feelings and hurt from my birth father, she never talked bad about that man in front of me. Never did it. Try not to cry about it. My mother never badmouthed that man ever in front of me or my brother. Never did it. We gotta start cleaning stuff up. And when I say that I hold officials accountable a lot, I do. But I also got to hold the community and the people in the community accountable. I've seen and been around children who, even if their father is not the best man in the world, he still is their father. Don't badmouth that man in front of your children. I'm telling you, you'll rip up their insides. And there's 2 sides to every story. I'm just telling the truth. I know people are like, oh my God, Marie's being Dr. Phil today. I'm not trying to. I'm really talking about this from a lot of sides because I see this is really, really heavy. And it's been weighing on me for a good portion of my life because I've seen in a lot of instances how adult human beings ruin children. The children, the innocent bodies, the innocent souls, the innocent spirits. All I can do is be transparent. I'm not perfect. My opinion is not always right, but I try to talk about things as how I see them. And I really do see a lot of children who have been emotionally crushed because they do not have a relationship with their father, or in the instance where there is maybe a troubled relationship between the mother and the father. Nobody's willing to put their ego aside to catapult the children first or the child first. And so really, the benefit of talking about this is not really just to help men. It's really for us to understand that if we want our children to really be whole, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, that at the least, even if their father never steps up, even if their father never comes visit them, sends them a birthday card, don't down that man in front of them. I'm telling you, you'll crush their very spirit. And men, you can't do that either. Vice versa. Don't do that either because there are a lot of single dads. Don't do it either. Right? If the mother never steps up, if she never changes, if she never gets off drugs, don't badmouth her in front of the children. Let them, if it's possible, because here's the thing. There are a lot of people who grow up and get older and they change. And one of the things that I discovered about the man who birthed me but did not raise me was that he was raised by a father who had similar problems, had kids all over the place. Come on. And so I understood that here's the thing. A lot of us are dealing with broken people. And I'm not excusing what they do. But if you look at some of their family members, the people who raised them, the people they spend a lot of time with, it's easy to see why they are jacked up. Because people are not wolves. They do not raise themselves. They're raised by other imperfect people. And this is how cycles. Let me get back on. I can only be me. I hope you guys are okay with that. I can only be me. So the Tennessee state law states that under Tennessee Code Section 36-2-303, an unwed mother automatically gains custody of her child upon birth. No legal action is necessary to assert her custodial rights. She is solely responsible for providing the child's needs and making decisions regarding the child's residence, medical care, and education. unless a court-ordered custody agreement states otherwise. It is her decision whether or not the father can see the child and what part he plays in the child's life. So this is important, good people. For the folks who are already in this situation, I'm going to help you, and we're going to start talking about what are things that you could do if you're a father and you're trapped in a situation where you've had a child, you're not married to the woman that you had the child with, and she's not letting you see your child, but you want to see them. She's not letting you raise your child, but you want to raise them. I want to help you on what you can do, because if we look at the Tennessee Code, again, it's Tennessee Code section 362303. An unwed mother automatically gains custody of her child at birth. That's even if you signed a birth certificate, you still do not have any rights. So don't believe what Cousin Moo told you. Well, if you signed a birth certificate, if you signed the birth certificates, she still has all of the say-so. So what can you do? You're going to have to stay tuned for the second half of the segment to listen to what can you do if you're caught up in this situation and you want to gain custody rights. If you want to fight back, because y'all know that's what I'm here. I want to ensure that whatever is done in any given situation, we're doing what's in the best interest of the child. And despite what people think, the child needs both of their parents if it is possible. It may not be possible, but if you believe you can work with this woman, or even if you don't believe you can work with this woman, and you still want to fight for your rights, I'm here to help you. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
TDEC says City Cove Creek fuel spill was due to illegal dumping. Adding contract workers with Norfolk Southern cleaning a holding tank at the Dubutte's rail yard reportedly pumped contaminants right into the creek. This causing a massive cleanup effort, which only concluded last month. Norfolk Southern has agreed to pay $60,000 in fines. The health department confirming one person is dead of hepatitis A. 400 more are sickened. This outbreak swept across the South, mostly affecting Nashville and Chattanooga. There is a vaccine for Hep A, and it can be cured. It attacks the liver and can be deadly if left untreated. And CARTA Chairman Steve Jett announced he's stepping down after 38 years on the job. Vice Chairman John Bilderback will take over the position until a replacement is named. Jett adding it was especially time for new leadership since CARTA is embarking on an effort to redesign its whole system. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hicks and Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Gold, 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 and more gold. And always buy American. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll always get better rates than the banks. We'll convert your silver, diamonds, cash into gold, gold, gold. Precious American gold. Certified by the federal government. Buy American. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. 499-9162. Call 499-9162. And visit Rick at 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Gold, 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 and more gold.
For your small business, ending the year the right way can set you up for success come January. No need to let end-of-year panic set in. Easy Books and Taxes can help set up your books or new payroll service so that you can relax and enjoy the holiday season. With 35 years, bookkeeping, individual, and business tax preparation, it's easy. With Easy Books and Taxes, you run the business, we keep the books. Call us today at 423-755-0821.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet Way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Hi, this is Scott Schrader. Tune in Saturdays for We've Got You Covered. From finance to fixtures and all things in between, when it comes to your home, we'll help steer you in the right direction. We've Got You Covered, 10 to 12 every Saturday on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Looking much better out there for your afternoon with lots of sunshine. Highs settling into the lower 50s tonight. Clear, cold again, frosty by morning, lows near freezing. For Saturday, though, more great-looking weather. Lots of sun, warmer highs, lower 60s. Continued dry and mild Sunday. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
It's your girl Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, back for the second half of the segment. Know Your Rights Fridays, Father's Edition. We're doing it especially for the babies, the kids, because kids and children, they need their father. It's just possible. They need their father. Now, at the beginning of the week, when I talked about emotional wellness for men, one of the quotes from Mark Twain was that by 12 years old, a boy is already emulating what he sees. And he's emulating not only what he sees, but whoever spends time with them. Why is it important for you to fight for your rights immediately? Well, let's look at these reasons right here. Because especially if you're going for custody or for full legal rights to your children, custody in the court can be based on several things. Okay? And that could be the state of any current relationship you have with your child, your ability to provide your kids or your child with shelter, education, and medical care, the degree to which you have been the primary caregiver, your own personal, mental, and physical health, your relationship with your ex-spouse, the importance of continuity for your child, including considerations about how long your child has lived in a satisfactory and stable environment, the child's record in the home, at school, and in the community. If the child is 12 or older, the child can actually state who they want to live with. Any physical or emotional abuse inflicted by the parents on the child, or on the other parent, or on any other person, or the parent's past and potential handling of parental responsibilities. When I said it's going to be a fight if you want to get your children, it is a fight. Because if you listen at the first half of the segment, Tennessee Code Section 362303, an unwed mother gets all of the immediate rights. And if you want to get your children back, it's a process to this. The first thing you're going to have to do, Dad, if you want to see your babies, if you have not had any interaction with your child, and you want to see your children, you want to spend time with them, you want to either have
joint custody, sole custody, or just your full rights acknowledged in the legal system, not just you beating on your chest, you're going to have to establish paternity. An unmarried father can establish paternity by filing a complaint to establish parentage with juvenile court in Tennessee. The parents can voluntarily acknowledge paternity through hospital documents, or it can be determined through genetic testing. Tennessee courts accept genetic testing results submitted by the parents, or in case of a dispute, order genetic testing of the mother, the father, and the child all at once. Once paternity is established, courts can evaluate the situation based on the best interests of the child to determine custody. Okay? So before you think you could just march down and try to get an appointment or see a judge, the first thing we have to make sure, or we want to make sure, is that the child is yours. Okay? And so once paternity has been established, Tennessee courts will make custody decisions based on best interest of the child standard, which were all of the things that I just read, right? So if you're going to do this, you're going to have to start cleaning your act up, making sure that you're mentally and physically in good health. Try as best as you can to work on your relationship with your ex-spouse. Keep receipts. If you buy anything for your child, clothes, shoes, toothbrush, I'm just keeping it real. Keep receipts of everything that you buy. Make sure, and because I've had guy friends and people I know, young men I know who've had to go through this. Save your text messaging history with your baby mama, just in case. So you can, if you go to court, you can prove, well, Your Honor, it's been instances where I wanted to see my child, she wouldn't let me. The only time she wanted me to come around is if I'm paying for stuff. And I've been doing that because that's my child and I love them. But I want more. All right? You're going to have a place, a vehicle. It needs to be child safe. Right? You're going to have to be able to provide medical care. So you're going to have to get a job, and a job that has somewhat decent insurance. You're going to have to, most of all, already really have a relationship or have tried to form a relationship and a bond with your child. It's going to be very, very difficult if all you're doing is just showing up to court saying, I want to see my child. And so y'all know what it is in the court of law. It's the burden of what? Proof. The burden of proof, meaning that you have evidence showing that you've done absolutely everything you possibly could. And now the only discourse you have is to take it to the courts. Right? You got to have evidence. So, because what the judge is going to do, the judge is going to look at the mother and ask the mother to explain. And the mother, what can she say if you have proof? Well, Your Honor, I've reached out to her. I've paid for stuff. I've let her know that, I'll pay for the kids' books, my children's books and the uniforms. And, I make sure they have money for doctor's visits and co-pays and stuff like that. I do. This is the stuff that I do. The judge is going to help you. The judge is going to help you. Why? Because the judge really wants to do what's not in the best interest of one parent over another. Now, often when that happens, it happens because people come to court and they're not prepared. Or people have come to court and they have not tried to establish any of this stuff first. Make sure all of your P's and Q's, your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Everything's in order. Because once you go to court, really, you need to hire a lawyer. And that's not cheap. Legal representation, I highly recommend it in cases of custody. You can defend yourself if you so choose. You're going to be doing a lot of studying and a lot of work. I recommend getting a lawyer if it's possible. But you're going to have to take time off of work, time out of your schedule, and you're going to be spending money to do this. And so it makes absolutely no sense to go through this process if you're not ready. Okay? So for custody disputes, although a child's father can file a petition for custody, Tennessee courts are unlikely to remove a child completely from the mother's care. So also it's understanding that the probability of you getting sole custody, with the exception of the young lady who is the mother of your child, she doesn't have stable place, she's abusing the child, or things along an extreme nature. I want people to walk into this with a complete understanding. Again, because all of the favor, the reason you got to be prepared, imagine like this is a pile of blocks, and all of the blocks are on the mother's side, right? You want to take some of those blocks so you can use those blocks to build a bridgeway to your children. The more blocks you have, the more of a bridge you can build, right? So I want you guys to walk into this understanding that it is, in the grand scheme of things, highly unlikely that they're just going to remove the child completely from the mother's care. Generally, a successful paternity action for an unmarried father results in visitation rights to start. In order to gain full custody, the father must show that he is better, more stable, and this takes time. This is why I said this is going to be a process, right? Because you're going to have to prove to the judge and the courts that you really want to be there for your child. Now, we didn't get here. I'm just being real. We didn't get here without there being a mass exodus, and that is because of several different reasons. A mass exodus of men not in the households. Some of it can be attributed to mass incarceration. Some of it can be contributed to there were just fathers who walked up, who just got up and left and never looked back. It's a lot of things that caused this, but at the end of the day, the states took it into their power to ensure that the child is going to be looked after. And 9 times out of 10, if the father doesn't do it, the mother will. So at the end of the day, the judge wants to ensure that we start off kind of small in a lot of cases. And that starts with visitation. And so what they'll do is ensure that if you agree to picking up Johnny Jr. at 5:00 Friday from magnet school, and you're keeping him through the weekend, and he's got to be back home Sunday with his mama at 5:00, that's what you agree to. And nothing can happen to little Johnny. Little Johnny better be well taken care of during the weekend. Right? And so over a period of time, if this happens to be something that you're keeping up with your visitation, you're still taking care of your child, making sure they have everything they need. You're there in the event of an emergency. Then you can go back to the courts and petition to gain full custody. It is possible. It is absolutely possible. But you're going to have to fight for it. I'm just keeping it 1,000% real. You're going to have to fight for it. Until we get to a place, and there's groups that advocate for this, until we get to a case to where a state and time to where things like this will be considered upfront equally. I don't know what that will look like, if it's even possible when we talk about our criminal justice system, which is forever backlogged. I don't know. I don't really know what reform would look like in this area. But I firmly believe that in a lot of instances, unless the guy just proves that he's not going to be there, we should be very, very careful and very, very slow to terminate a father's rights. Now, that's just my opinion. because fathers are important. You know, my grandma would say, it's your mother who loves you and nurtures you, but it's your father that gives you character. Now, some people may argue with that, and that's fine. But I can definitely say that if you look at Marie and see the reason that I fight for people, the reason that I love serving people, love helping people, that's what I saw my father do. As a matter of fact, my father has been in criminal justice his entire career since he got out of the military. And as a matter of fact, this is one of the things that he did before moving to probation was he was over child dependency and neglect and would help dads all the time try their best to get their rights back if that was what they wanted. And so there are a lot of things that I have seen and heard from my father, just in a lot of instances, you know, how heartbreaking this system is, because if there's a loser in any situation, it is always the child. There was an article that came out, I believe it was in July, that when people started doing studies of children who are more prone to dropping out of school, children who are more prone to violence, children who are more prone, to abusing others, is often if they have no relationship with their father. In particular for boys, because they're going to pick up these habits and these things often either from their peers or from people you never would want them to learn anything from. So I'm going to read it again. I forgot. 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of these United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Now, y'all know the real meat of the 14th Amendment is life, liberty, and property without due process. So, fellas, until we see better on a state level, this is due process. It's not my version of due process, because there's no reason why your parental rights should be stripped of you unless you prove that you don't want to be a father. But until either people educate themselves on constitutional law, which the state is always subject to, right? Because it says right here, a state shall make no law to abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens. But if the average person doesn't know this, they know the Tennessee state law, but they don't know constitutional provision and say, hey, the way the current system is set up, it's stripping me of my due process. Yes, in case you did not know, it is. The current way the Tennessee state system is set up, it is partial. I'm just keeping it real. From a constitutional perspective, it is partial. And I can understand some of the reasons why. But now this is my opinion. I believe that there should be a general case set up where fathers are given the chance to to assert their rights until such a time where they prove that they're not going to do what's in the best interest of the father. Then we can strip them of their rights. But it shouldn't be a situation where we immediately start out the gate in a partial sense. That is really unconstitutional, the way our system is operating right now, which is not a surprise. If we don't know stuff like this, then how do we fight back? And I want men to fight back. And really, the real power beyond state law is constitutional provision. What did my founding father say? That states don't have a right to strip me of my common law rights. Because that's what being a father is. It's a common law right. You make the baby, you want to be there? Okay, no problem. It shouldn't be hard. This shouldn't be difficult. But unfortunately, Now, I got to be real. These systems are incentivized. There's a whole lot of money that gets sucked into the system and people's lives with it. So, takeaways for today. You can get your children back, but have your stuff lined up. Let me read the list again before we close out here. You got to have a relationship with your child. There's no point in doing this if you don't have a relationship or you have not tried. You need to be able to give them shelter, education, medical care. You need to try to be their primary caregiver or do things that a primary caregiver would do. You need to have your own physical and mental health in order. You need to try to have some sort of relationship with your ex. Come on. They're going to look at the child's record at home, at school, in the community. If the child is 12 years or older, they can choose. They can voice their own opinion, who they want to go home with. They're going to look to see if you are an emotional or physical. Notice it doesn't just say physical. It says emotional abuser. Yeah. To the parent's child. To the child, to the other parent, or any other person. And do you have the potential to handle all of the responsibilities that come along with being a parent? Y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, talking about Know Your Rights Friday, Father's Edition. Fathers, we need you. We need you. And you can do this. I believe in you. It's not going to be easy. They're not just going to handle your child. You're going to have to fight for it. But your child needs you. And the courts are really looking to do what's in the best interest of the child. And really what they want to just see initially is an effort. And if they see that, you're on your way. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. Know Your Rights Fridays. As always, if no one has taken the time today to tell you that they love you, I love you. And guess what? It's absolutely nothing that you can do about that. I look forward to you guys having a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be careful. Be safe out there. And I look forward to seeing all of you next week on the Marie Mott Show. Have a great weekend, my loves.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
TDEC says City Cove Creek fuel spill was due to illegal dumping. Heading contract workers with Norfolk Southern cleaning a holding tank at the Dubuque's rail yard reportedly pumped contaminants right into the creek. This causing a massive cleanup effort, which only concluded last month. Norfolk Southern has agreed